So, hi everybody and welcome back to this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series for absolute beginners. We are creating a game. This is video number 25, and in this video we will talk again a little bit about multiplayer, because I said at the start it is easy to make a game for multiplayer but change it later to a single player if we are not interested in multiplayer. But the other way around, it's very difficult when we make a single player game and at the end we make it for a multiplayer. That's too hard. We almost work the whole codes and all things again. That's why we have to talk again about a little bit multiplayer. Not much, because I'm new in multiplayer too, and I will just set up only important things here, and I refer also on online material, of course. And let's get started. First of all, let's see where we are. So when I start here my game, we have here a start screen. This is our main menu. You should style this much better than me. And you can style this one here also, but this works. It's simple, fast, and when I play start, then I have almost a problem here. And then I have created this map. Yes, this is also fine. And actually, normally I would define the multiplayer here in the main menu, but for the main menu, I will. There is a longer setup needed. And that's I want to avoid, and that's why we set our multiplayer just for our gameplay map. I changed to my gameplay map and said I test it, because later I want set the multiplayer real up. Here I want just test the multiplayer features. For example, I said that all things will be not the same. Let me explain you what I mean with that. The first thing what we need is we need a player start. Why is this in this one? I don't know. This is not the player start. First of all, we need a player start, and here I have no player start. This is the sound, and I was so what the hell? I was worried about this one. Let's create a faster player start. Easy. We go here on top, or you can go here on window, play sectors, what you like. I go on this one now, and then you go here. For example, if you don't know where it is here you can go to all classes, and here it's a search bar. When you just type in your key, when you just write something, for example player, then this search bar will appear. It's strange that it's not appearing, because it's a little bit irritating, but okay. Player, oops, player. And when we write player, it pops up. There is player start, and I pop 1, and when I start now this game, that works. Okay, so far all fine, but now I want test it with 2 players. And you know, we have already tested this. You have just to remember what you have to do is you go here on top to the to the dots here, and here on the bottom where it says number of player, let's change this to 2, and we have later select a listen server or a dedicated server. But right now we test this with the listen server, so we can test it here in the editor. With a dedicated server, we need to set up another server, which we have not right now. So we click this play as a listen server, and when we start now, we have actually a problem, right? So I have only 1 player start, but it works. Let's add another player start. Where is my landscape? Let's go here, click here on the right side, press F, it moves there. And here is again one problem. For example, if this is all time changing anyhow positions, and so you can just click here on the right side anything and press F, it will focus. But there is still one combination which I set you. Let's say you want all time be here. You set up a position which you like, and then press Control 1, and then let's say you change your position again anywhere, it flies in, then you press just 1 and it's back to this position. Let's set this up so that we get here all time back. And now here we have this player start here, and I need another one, you can search here on top, but the easy way is again a shortcut on the keyboard. You press Alt and hold it, and then just drag this arrow, and now I have 2. That's perfect. Let's continue. Let's test it. And this one worked. Okay. That's the reason is for that, because I set this already up, because we need to code here something. And let's start here again, and this one worked not. Okay. And this has another reason now, because we will set this code here soon. And let me code this one, whatever. Let's see what we have here. And save, and let's start. Okay, this one is complaining anyhow. And so on. Let's see what we have here. Okay, the thing what I want to do is actually it's a compiler error, because now I have disconnected this one, and you should not make this one. That's why it's not appearing. That was my mistake. But in real later, so this was just the setup, but we need coding here a little bit. And why we need here a little bit coding, I could not show you that because it was a little bit compiler error, because I already wrote here something which we will use in a moment. The problem is here when we start this one, without the coding which I have, the player, for example, let's say this player which I have here could spawn also at the same position like here. And this is not set up, and this one we will set up in this video, and which means we will code it a little bit. And for those guys who are not interested in watching me how I explain all the detail, all things, yeah, for absolute beginners, perhaps you are more experienced than me, I show you just the code, and then you know what to do to set this up. This solution is perhaps not perfect. I found one solution. There are more solutions, perhaps better ones, and yeah, but at start we just concentrate on one solution which works, and later if we have more knowledge we change it or we keep it if it's okay. So let's get started. First, for those guys who have experience and want not watch this, you go just here on the left side to the function section, and then if you hover over function, there appears an override, and then you just search choose player start at this override. Then now I make it a little bit fast. Here you get all the actors, loop all the actors, and set here for the player start. Then you cast to the player start, and from the player start you get the player start tag, and then you check the tag, because this tag is just a name. You check if the tag has the word taken included, and if not, you will just you use a branch, and if not, then it will do nothing and go to the next. And if yes, I made it wrong. I explained it a little bit wrong because there was outside someone. And what I want to say is this one is a not equal sign, which means the opposite. If anyone has taken this tag, then it will be false. If it's not taken, then it will be true, and then it will set to tag and return, and you connect this one here with that. So that's for the programmers perhaps, and users who already know this one. I show you it one more time so that you can see what we are going to do. So, and for those guys who are new, I explain all the steps and so on now, step by step, what we are going to do and why we are going to do. And let's start. First of all, we have not this, and I put it earlier on top, and I explain now all steps what we have to do. So start again. So the problem here is when I press start, this player appears sometimes on the same position here, right? And this is the player start. And the player start, and there are different ways to solve this, and we are using one attribute of the player start. What is that? We go here in details, we selected one of the player starts, they are the same. Here in detail and write tag. And if you write tag or you find just tag, because it's anywhere here, but let's write tag now. So it jumps there. Tag. And then here you will find tags, but there are two things. Tags which you can attach later, for example with plus plus plus, and you can name this player starts, for example, my I don't know, attack character and so on. But this one we are not using, so this one we are clearing. What we are using here is object which says player start tag. This one we will use. And the nice thing in programming is all things, most time, not all time, most time, all things what you can see here in details panel, you can access. You have just to find this player start, and then we can access this in programming. And how we are doing this is, first of all, we find a starting place where we want to code this. So the question is where we are going to code this, because there are many places again which you can choose, but this one is a very important place. So and I said to you, when it comes to an important place, it's the game mode, it's the first file, or let's say the first class which opens up. And in multiplayer, this is even more important. So in a standalone game, for example, a single player, you will be all time have a game mode, right? But in multiplayer, the client means here, let's say the one who's joining us will not have a game mode. Only the server will have a game mode. And that's why it is very important that we write very important settings only to the server class and file, and that is our game mode. So that's very important. Why is that so important? One more note, because if the client has access to this file, which is very important, he can use cheats. And that's that we don't want. He can still use probably other way around cheats, but this one is the real class what he want access to cheat perfect, because here we set later health and all the calculations for the player. That's why this is very important. In a single player, one more note, that doesn't matter. You have only this game mode and you don't care about other players anyway, and you will not cheat. And if you cheat, then you cheat. Then there is nothing to do in a single player mode. Okay, let's continue. We are going to the game mode because it's very important. And I'm not sure if we really need two game modes, but right now we will continue with two game modes, one for main menu and here one for gameplay. Perhaps we have to change this later, but let's see. It will work also too. So I open up this game mode. So I'm in my game mode gameplay, which we created, right? We have this created. It's perfect. And now we are going to first let's define our goal again. The problem was when I PlayerStart in multiplayer. That's very important, because when I make this in one player, there will be no problem. It will only select one. In multiplayer, I have a problem, which means the problem is it will spawn sometimes at the same player start, and then they are overlapping or are over and under, and that we don't want. And to avoid this is that what we are going to write. So the whole code what we are going to write is just to make sure every player who joins get one player for them else. We can make here even more. And we want that every player who is joining take this. If this is taken, I want that the next one is taken this. Then he checks if this is taken. If this is taken, then I want that he takes this, and so on. And let's get started. In game mode, we are going to the not to the function, sorry. We go to the event graph. That's very important because we need this this is the start coding start place normally. And then very funny is we are not using the event begin play. Normally we used all time event begin play because I said when you start, because this is the starting point normally, right? And that's still the starting point. It's all fine, all nice. But the problem here is we will use a special function which already is included in Unreal Engine. So it was already written before it's already written here in the engine, let's call it so to make it not too complicated. And where we find this already written function, we go here to the functions and there is this little override. And now you see here many things, many functions or whatever, and you can change this because this is already, anyone has already written this one. So we can use it and we can change this. Override means here we want change the default settings, so the start settings. In our case, you have to find now choose player start, which I have here. I have this already here. You find this, and when you click on this one, it appears a new window, and here on top you can see it. It starts with a f, which means it's a function, and this function is called behind the scenes. We don't need to call it. That's very important here as well, because normally function we have to call later. But in this case, because I said this function is already integrated in the engine, was written in behind the scene, and is called also behind the scene, which we are not talking right now. So we are only interested just for the functionality to make sure that the character is not taking the same player start. And how we are going to make this very simple method, we will check just the player start tag, which is just a name, and we will check if the name, it says taken or not taken. And how we are doing this, and this one I will explain you now in detail, step by step. Let's go on. First of all, this is a little bit coding stuff here, but don't worry, it's not too difficult. And I think this video is too long. That's why I make here a break. And in the next video, we will go and code this step by step, because this will take a long, because I will explain you here some notes, blueprint notes, how we are realizing that. Okay, with that said, see you in the next video. Bye.